Hello guys, and welcome back to my second YouTube video. Today it's going to be more of like a life/lifestyle type of video. I'm going to share with you my preterm/early labour story. So I gave birth at 26 weeks, and for those who don't know, usually pregnancy goes up until 40 weeks, and so I gave birth 14 weeks early. So I'm hoping this video can encourage someone going through this at the moment, but also just give awareness, because I think a lot of people, well, I didn't at least know that this was something that would be possible. So hopefully you guys can learn more about it and support your friends who are going through it. Sorry if I'm looking down. My son's sleeping, so I'm watching him on the monitor. Gosh, go to sleep. What are you doing? Anyway, so where do I even begin? So I'll start at the beginning of my pregnancy. So I found out I was pregnant. I started taking my prenatal vitamins and eating. I wouldn't say I was eating healthy, because I was craving bacon, I was craving pasta, like, yeah, I was eating okay. I wasn't drinking, I wasn't smoking, I was exercising, I was going for walks, and I was doing Pilates. Yeah, so it was pretty normal. There wasn't really much stress when I was pregnant either. So my pregnancy was pretty normal. I went for my 20-week scan, and she did say that the baby was pretty low, so quite low down in my stomach, and so she found it hard to find him, because that scan is usually used just to check that they're developing okay, and then they tell you the sex of the baby at that 20-week scan, here in the UK anyway, on the NHS. Everything was fine then, except the fact that obviously the baby was a bit low. And then I think around my 24th week, my mucus plug came out. But basically I went to the toilet and saw that there was a load of mucus, or yeah, that had come out. And to be honest, I just thought it was discharge, but it was quite a lot. And then later on in that week, I started experiencing what I thought were Braxton Hicks contractions. So my stomach would, the muscles in my stomach would like tighten up and go hard, and literally like feeling my stomach, it would be quite hard. So I just googled, and online it just said like that's normal for your second trimester, you start to experience Braxton Hicks contractions. So I'm just like, okay, that's fine. And also when we were playing Monopoly with my husband's family, my feet got really swollen, so I think that was all connected anyway. So that was, let's say, like Saturday, and then the week went on. I was still having the Braxton Hicks contractions, or I thought they were, but I think they were actually contractions. And by Friday, was it Friday or Thursday morning, I woke up, went to the bathroom and saw that there was blood. So I'd been bleeding. It wasn't even a large amount, but the fact that there was blood and then all these other symptoms, I was like, no. I literally ran upstairs crying, and I was like, I'm calling the hospital. I called the hospital, and they were like, come in right away. So I went in, they checked my cervix, and I was 3 centimeters dilated. So at this point I was 25 weeks pregnant, and so they injected me with magnesium sulfate and some sort of steroids for the baby's lungs, and basically just trying to prolong the labor, so delay the labor. Because I was so early in my pregnancy, they had to transfer me to another hospital, and I got transferred to St. Thomas in London, and they were just fantastic. Such lovely staff. Everyone was super everyone was super helpful. Like, yeah, they were just great. So we're at Guy's and St. Thomas Hospital in London. My cervix has dilated, and yeah, I'm only 25 weeks pregnant, so it's very early for the baby to come out. I believe that the doctors are doing everything possible to make sure the baby doesn't come out. They're trying to prolong it as much as possible. I've been given magnesium sulfate, which helps prolong time a bit, but also helps with the baby's brain development in the case that they come out. And you know, it's not time yet. I've also been given steroids. The steroids are to help with the baby's lungs so that they produce surfactant, which will help the lungs not collapse. Yeah, so that is in case the baby comes out. So I've had both my doses of the steroids. And I've also been given a tocolytic. It's called neophidipine. God, that's wrong, but I'll correct it. And that's to stop contractions and to stop going into labor. So I've had 3 doses of those in the last 24 hours. Yeah, and the magnesium sulfate, I've been on that for just over 24 hours as well. So initially we went to the doctors because I was bleeding a little bit. Well, a lot, but a little. And they looked at my cervix and it was dilated. It was 2 to 3 centimeters approximately dilated. And they could see the bulging membranes, so the sac where the baby is. I was then transferred to St. Thomas, guys in St. Thomas Hospital in London. And what happened here? Did they examine me first? Yeah, they examined me, and by the time I got here, I had dilated. First they looked through, I want to say a speculum. I'm not entirely sure what it's called, but they checked, and they checked down there, like physically looked with their eyes, and and they approximated like 5 to 6, but then they looked through the scan, and the scan said like 4 centimeters, but everything's an approximate. I don't think they can literally get a ruler and put it on my cervix. But they haven't checked me since then, and the last time I got checked was probably about 5 p.m. yesterday, so nearly 24 hours ago. And then this morning they also did a scan. Baby's fine, his heart rate has been normal. He's been moving about, kicking about all last night. I didn't really sleep last night, and neither did baby. He was just awake, kicking, which is good. Baby's foot is on my cervix, and so he's breech, but the rest of his body's quite high up, which is good, because it means he's not like, raring to get out. I think what I have, not like the doctors haven't said this, but from what I've researched on Google, I have an incompetent cervix, and I think it might be a little bit genetic, because my aunt on my mum's side has had it, and my cousin on my mum's side has had it, and I think my grandma has as well, my mum's mum. So it looks like it might be genetic. And on the scan when they looked today, it didn't look like anything had changed on my cervix, which is good. Doesn't sound great, but it's good that we haven't further dilated. Hoping we don't dilate any further. I think we want to, whatever the opposite of dilating is, we want that. We want to get smaller, and we want the membranes to go down. So at the moment I'm sat on this bed, and I don't know if you can see the slope coming down like that. So my legs are raised, and it's in the hopes that everything that's in my little cervix will, get pushed up, and the membranes will get away from the cervix. Then hopefully I can go home and just be on bed rest for the remainder of the, I think it's about 14 weeks until we're full term. I feel like the care's really good, don't you think?
Yeah, amazing.
Amazing care. Yeah. I got transferred to St. Thomas Hospital, and the whole time my husband was with me, which was really good because I don't know what I would have done without him. By the time we got to St. Thomas, I was 6 centimeters dilated. I was just crying. You can imagine I was crying the whole time. I was so stressed out. I was extremely worried about the baby, about what was going to happen. So we're at St. Thomas Hospital now, and yeah, they kept me there because they're like, you're going to give birth. So they were basically preparing me to give birth. They were telling me, so they had a Nicu doctor, so a neonatal intensive care unit doctor, come down and explain to me what happens if a baby's born early, like basically like the things that could happen to them, so that maybe they may not be able to breathe, and any other complications that may happen with the baby being born early. So basically like just preparing me. And then someone came down to tell me about my pain relief options. I was there from, let's say I went in Thursday, I was there from Thursday until like the whole weekend, and it was Valentine's Day weekend, until like I gave birth basically, and I gave birth the next Tuesday morning. So yeah, we spent the weekend there, literally me and my husband listening to gospel music, praying like, God, please don't let us give birth. Basically they were just like, you're gonna give birth, you need to get with the program essentially. But I was hoping that I wouldn't give birth. On Monday night, me and my husband, I think we probably just watched like whatever we watched on Netflix or on my laptop, and then he went to sleep and I was meant to sleep as well. But I started getting more of the tightenings, so the Braxton Hicks contractions, but they were painful, and it feels like period pains but like 100 times worse. Like, so they were getting more painful and I couldn't sleep, because you know with period pain sometimes you can just like sleep it off. And they gave me paracetamol, and paracetamol won't do anything for you, honey, in labor. Oh my gosh, I remember being told like when I was younger that like don't take too much paracetamol now for your period pains, because otherwise it won't be effective when you give birth. Paracetamol won't do anything, okay? These pains are another level. Honestly, it was a lot. And so I was just in pain. I was calling the nurse like, I need more pain relief. And then I think it was around 11 p.m. This is when it gets blurred, but it was around 11 p.m. and I went to the bathroom and there was just a lot of blood that came out. So I remember I went to, and I felt like I couldn't really move. Like it just felt like there was a lot of pressure down here. So I literally screamed at my husband. I was like, I won't say his name, babe, wake up, call the doctors. And I remember he just woke up obviously, so he's like, huh? And I'm like, call the doctors. So he's like pressed the red button and they've like rushed in, and then they've checked my cervix again and they're like, you're fully dilated, and they're like, yeah, so this is happening. And I was just crying. Oh, yeah, I was not happy. This was just, yeah, it was just sad, and it's even sad to just think about it now. But yeah, so they transferred me to a bigger delivery room, because I was already on the delivery ward this whole time. So the whole weekend, we spent the whole weekend on the delivery ward. To be fair, we had a lovely view of the London Eye because of where St. Thomas is. So I had gas and air. I feel like it's just a distraction. It doesn't actually take away the pain. It just distracts you from the pain, but the pain's still there. I didn't care for that. I said, I need an epidural now, ASAP. Get me that pain relief ASAP. I'm not here for pain. I'm not here for suffering in this life. I want a soft life, okay? So I was not going to say no to the epidural. The guy came and he came to give me the epidural, and he was setting up his things, and I was like to my husband, why is it taking so long? He's taken too long. Like, I was not happy. It was taking too long. It was so painful. I can't even. Anyway, the epidural came and I was happy. It was good times. I got the epidural, and then they were just monitoring my contractions, monitoring baby's heartbeat, all of that. And then we slept. It must have been like past midnight, and yeah, we kind of just slept until about 5 a.m. I want to say. And then they're like, yeah, it's time to push. And I was like, I can't feel anything. I don't know how you're meant to push. They're like, just push as if you're going to the toilet. That's what I did. And baby slid out. Just to add as well, my water hadn't broken, so he broke his own waters as he came out, and he came out screaming. That was quite incredible. But obviously he came out not looking how babies look when you give birth, so that was quite a shock for me. But he was crying. I remember just saying, it's okay baby, it's okay. And then they just took him away straight away. They put him in a plastic bag, and that was it. I didn't see him after that. yeah, that was it. He was gone and taken to Nicu. My husband followed them downstairs to Nicu where they took the baby, and I think for the first couple of days he was actually breathing by himself, but I think that was the steroids just like assisting him. And then after the steroids wore off, then yeah, he couldn't really breathe by himself anymore, and so he had to be incubated. So he had a tube that went all the way down his throat into his lungs and essentially would breathe for him. I'll try to show you some pictures, but like trigger warning, obviously it's not very pleasant to see. So yeah, I was left there obviously with a midwife or 2 midwives or something, and then they injected me with something and I gave birth to the placenta. The placenta came out anyway, and then I vomited. I don't know, I think maybe it was just shock. I vomited and I was just left in this room and I just cried. That was just sad. I just cried and cried. Like, it was just the shock of everything that's gone on. And then obviously, like, to be honest, I didn't know what was about to happen at that point. I didn't know the journey we were just about to have. But yeah, I just sat there and cried, and I slept a bit. Yeah. So the doctors couldn't really tell me why I gave birth early. I was told that I have an incompetent cervix, which is such a lovely term to hear about your cervix. But my cervix, I think my cervix is short and it just started opening. They don't know what caused it. I think they tried to say it was an infection, but the infection markers were so like low. I don't think it was that, and my consultant as well said he doesn't think it was that. However, my husband did hear them talking, and they said that something was missed in my 20-week scan. So when the baby was low and she was actually trying to find him, they think that something was missed at that stage, which is just sad, to be honest. So like, had she said like, oh, the baby's really low, this is something we need to look into, then maybe I could have got the stitch on my cervix and been put on bed rest or something for the rest of my pregnancy. But anyway, so that's what happened. So I say all this to say, don't ignore your body, don't ignore the symptoms, call the hospital. Like, if you're pregnant and anything happens, just call the hospital. Like, I think they're used to people calling them, or pregnant women calling them and saying like, look, this has happened, is this okay? Like, just call them, and if something's not right, go to the hospital. Just go to the hospital and get it checked out. But anyway, it happened, and we can only thank God that this is a positive story. And before, I used to think to myself like, God, why did you make me go through this? But who else would I want to go through this? Like, there's no one else I would say, nah, she should have gone through this. So baby's in Nicu. My recovery was actually okay, to be honest, but that was probably because obviously I was only about 5-6 months pregnant. So I kind of snapped back, as they say. But I think I also had to, because I had to get up and walk to Nicu to see my son. Obviously, we don't live in London, we live in Essex, so we were fortunate enough to be given accommodation at Ronald McDonald. They have a house for people like us with babies in intensive care. So baby was incubated, had the tube down his throat, and he went through a number of different things. Like, at one point, I remember going into the hospital and I was so happy that day. I was so happy. I walked into the hospital like all happy. I remember I had my milk in my hands, like to go give the nurse so that she can put it in the fridge for him. And I was just excited to go there and like hold him. And then I get there and there's like a team of doctors and nurses around him. The consultant comes over to me straight away and she says he has a really bad infection and babies don't usually make it with this infection. Oh, my son's awake. So here's our little miracle baby. Our little miracle baby. I'm going to continue talking just because I know he's not going to give me an opportunity to finish this. So yeah, the show must go on, hey? I don't know how other mom YouTubers do it because I've been interrupted all the time. So yeah, I walked in to the room, the consultant's like, he may not make it. He has this really bad infection and the infection was in his lungs. It was just such a low point. It was just such a bad day. And we did Google the infection and stuff, and literally there's nothing positive written about that infection at all. If I can find the name, I'll let you know. It was literally horror story after horror story reading about that infection, and like literally babies weren't making it. Thank God, like honestly, all the glory to God, because after a couple of days I went into the hospital. Obviously I was going in every day, but I went in and they said he's doing a lot better and he's on the mend. I can't even explain to you, like, I think it's such a hard thing to try and explain to people for them to understand. Thinking that your child is gonna die and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I can't explain it, but anyway. So he was in Nicu from February until May, and he came home around May 14th or something. And yeah, we've been home since. After that, it was just up to us to like just look after him. But it was a journey, mate. A journey. You put us through it all because you wanted to come early and join the party early. So yeah, I hope this is informative in some way. I hope that if you're going through it, you're encouraged to know that there is like light at the end of the tunnel and you will make it. But I will say that not all babies make it. That's the thing. So it is extremely difficult. So just to wrap this up, if you are someone who's going through this and you just want some support, then get in my DMs. Let's pray together. Let's talk together. Just if you need someone to talk to that's gone through it, let me know. And I will be coming back with more, I won't say more positive, but like, you know, just more light-hearted videos in the future. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.